I get asked all the time, what is a vigilante? What does it mean to be a vigilante? And so to explain that, I'm just going to kind of explain where the vigilantes came from. When I started the group, I honestly thought there was going to be like 10 or 20 people who really like the scrap that would want to be part of the behind the scenes, helping pick out the guests and make the questions. And I never dreamed that the vigilantes would grow into what it has grown into. Over 700 like-minded souls. If you're a vigilante, you are never alone. We have members from across the country. We have members from across the globe. And it's just amazing what it's become. If you're in there, then you get to be in the Discord. And the Discord is where we do all of our discussions. And people go live and they talk and they ask questions. And we have a channel for bitching and moaning, for presenting classes. It's amazing the fellowship that is involved in being a vigilante. And it's not just that, there's so many other benefits. You get access to the vigilante only swag shop. You get the 15% discount on all merch from Firehouse Vigilance. You get the after parties. You get the vigilante get-togethers when we're all at the same place and we get together and we raise a glass and do a toast and have the vigilante creed. You get the vigilante coin when you hit your 1-year anniversary with your number. The fireaways, the forums, the archives, all of the quarterly projects that are coming that you get to be a part of and get to be behind the scenes on. It's grown into something bigger than I ever imagined. And I want people to know about it. I want people to be a part of it. If you're not a vigilante, why not? I don't know how big it could be. I don't know. I mean, the vigilantes are where the work is at. They're the ones who are getting stuff done. And it's phenomenal to be a part of it. I wanted to get on here and explain where it started, how it came to be, and ask you, if you're not a vigilante, why not? Go to patreon.com/thevigilantes. That's where you sign up. It is $5 a month. I mean, you can't even get a cup of coffee for that anymore. $5 a month and you get to be a part of this unbelievable group. Go to patreon.com, sign up, become a vigilante, and I will see you on the Discord.
Introducing the Affordable Bailout Prop, another innovative training solution by Affordable Drill Towers. The Affordable Bailout Prop is a durable and affordable training tool that allows firefighters to enhance their skills with real-world training in your parking lot or on your apparatus floor. Most fire departments only require annual PSS qualification, which isn't enough to develop muscle memory. When seconds count, you must be able to deploy your PSS and quickly escape by seating your hook in the sill or using a remote anchor point. With an overall height under 12 feet, a 5x7 footprint, and 12-inch heavy-duty swivel casters with double locks, the Affordable Bailout Prop can be easily moved between your parking lot and apparatus floor. Constructed of pressure-treated 4x4s, the window frame dimensions mimic the Denver drill window prop with a sill height of almost 8 feet, featuring a pressure-treated 2x12 sill. The rappel wall is made of 8 2x10s screwed into batten boards. All parts, including the windowsill and rappel wall, are designed to be easily replaceable if they become worn. A vertical ladder provides access to the deck, which is approximately 4 foot above ground level. In addition to window and ladder bailout drills, you can also train on removing victims through the window, whether handing the victim to another firefighter on the ladder or using the ladder as a high point. Don't stop with rescue drills. Consider advancing a hose line through the window and learn methods to overcome the challenges. Or hone the mechanics of VES, Vent Enter Search. The uses are endless and up to your imagination, creating an enormous value. With its inspiration coming from the events of FDNY's Black Sunday, Affordable Drill Towers donates 10% of all proceeds from the Affordable Bailout Prop to the Lieutenant Joseph P. DiBernardo Memorial Foundation. The Affordable Bailout Prop is available as a kit that you assemble, or fully assembled, where we train you how to assemble in the future. Elevate your training regimen with the Affordable Bailout Prop, setting a new standard in fire department training excellence. Reach us at 84455 Towers or info@affordabledrilltowers.com.
Corley Moore, Firehouse Vigilance. It is weekly scrap number 319. My guest tonight is Marshall Boyd, 23-year veteran of the fire service, all with the same two small fire departments just south of Houston. He's a husband to his beautiful wife, Tara, and father to 4 amazing kids. Currently wears a white helmet in both organizations, holding the rank of assistant chief with the Nassau Bay Volunteer Fire Department and the rank of battalion chief for the Webster Fire Department. His words, he is just trying to live into the faith, family, firemanship concept. I'm excited for this episode. I've been looking forward to it, and I'm happy to say, welcome to Scrap, episode number 319. My brother, Marshall Boyd.
Hey man, how are you?
Doing good, my man. Doing good. We were messing with the settings right whenever we started, and Marshall jumped in. So, anything I missed in the intro? Anything you would like to add?
No, you got my name right, and you mentioned my family, and I think you got what I do for a living. I think that's the highlights.
The big three?
Yeah, it's the big three.
I love it. Audience, it's going to be fun. Marshall, I've been looking forward to having Marshall on. I know the Vigilantes have been looking forward for Marshall coming on, and it's going to be an exciting episode. So get your questions primed and ready for Marshall and myself, and let's have some fun on the scrap. Now, let's talk about those beautiful sponsors. When it comes to building your perfect attack package, you can't just slap any nozzle on any hose and hope for the best. That's a recipe for failure. At Snap-Tight Hose, they are not just trying to sell you hose. They are there to make sure you get the right hose paired with the right nozzle for your crew and conditions. Their team of experienced reps knows their stuff inside and out, and they're ready to help. No ego, no judgment, because knowledge is power. And at Snap-Tight Hose, they bring both. Visit snaptighthose.com to connect with a rep and start building your ideal hose package today. Affordable Drill Towers, on a mission to bring you cost-effective and versatile training props like the Affordable Bailout Prop, which allows you to practice window bailouts, ladder bailouts, and ladder high-point rescues. They also make the Affordable Standpipe Prop, which you can roll into the classroom for standpipe theory and then roll it into the parking lot and pump realistic flows and pressures. And of course, their mainstay, the Affordable Drill Tower, several configurations and standard with a standpipe system. Choose from 1 or 2 sets of stairs, integrated into your existing Connex boxes for multi-story access or freestanding on a slab. All models NFPA 1402 compliant and gain you ISO credit. The only thing that you can't do in an Affordable Drill Tower is live fire training. Call Steve, 844-55-TOWER, or drop an email to info@affordabledrilltowers.com. Firefighter safety and accountability starts with being able to quickly find and identify individual firefighters operating on the fireground. Identifier Safety combines the best in photoluminescent materials for durable firefighter identification, which can glow for up to 20 hours, no switches, no batteries, which means being able to rapidly identify firefighters by name, unit, or assignment, even under hot fire conditions. All specifically designed and tested for the rigors of the job. Be seen on scene. Identifiersafety.com. And then a brand new sponsor, first time tonight on the scrap, Fire Innovations. They build the most innovative UL certified NFPA 2500 escape belts, ladder belts, class 2 harnesses for firefighters, and they build them right here in the USA. As well as the best bailout kits in the fire service, featuring the Talon escape anchor and core descender, trusted by leading gear manufacturers like Scott, Draeger, Firedex, Viking, Viridian, Inatex, Sterling Rope, and firefighters around the world. Fire Innovations, proven to save lives. And there you go. The scrap sponsors done. And now we're ready to focus our attention on Marshall. Are you ready, my brother?
Yeah, if you got more sponsors, I mean, you could do that as well.
We can do that instead. I will say FDIC 2026, we're doing the giveaway, and we're announcing it on October 7th with when Anthony Castros comes on. And the Vigilantes, we got all of the applicants in, and they're going to be pouring over. They're going to be selecting the winner on October 7th. And so you will want to tune in and find out on that episode. So let's go.
Yeah. Pretty exciting.
I love the topics you sent me. We leading off. One of my favorite things to talk about is imposter syndrome. The no one from nowhere. Your words, not mine, but I know that feeling.
Yeah.
You know, I'm from Moore, Oklahoma, a 4-station suburban fire department. And so I absolutely feel that in my soul. So talk to me about your journey. And for those who don't know, I mean, I don't know who doesn't know Marshall. If you've gone to a conference, because I met Marshall at, I think CF Tactics was the first conference I probably met you at, I'm guessing.
Probably. Yeah,
And I
probably.
don't know how many conferences I've seen you at since. It feels like about 45, maybe
Yeah,
50.
there's an addiction or something there that we could probably talk about. But yeah, it's when your passion kind of when it blends in professionally and personally, and there's kind of the lines get blurred, then yeah, you find yourself at a lot of those things for sure. Um, but yeah, the imposter syndrome, I'll probably qualify a lot of things tonight. And so the first qualifier of the night is um imposter syndrome is a real, like, legit thing,
Oh yeah.
imposter phenomenon, imposter syndrome. And it probably falls in like the mental health arena, and there's legitimate demographics of people that struggle with that. I don't fall into that demographic. There's legitimate childhoods and upbringings that involve trauma and abuse. That's not my story.
True
I
clinical
use
diagnosis type
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
there's true stuff, and so
Right.
I use it. I feel it maybe a little more tongue in cheek,
Okay.
but but how it manifests with self doubt and some anxiety, and compare. What's the comparison's the thief of joy, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so being from a little department that doesn't go to hundreds of fires every year, and agreeing with people when they talk about experience matters. And we don't need instructors that don't go to fires, and people that write books that don't go to fires. Like, experience matters. And so sometimes it's easy to feel like I have all the experimental data, and I know all that stuff. I can almost get picked on about it. The guy with the numbers. You can
Sure.
recite. I can recite, but you feel, or I feel a lot of times, like you don't have the experience to back it up.
Right. No,
um
absolutely.
and so and so maybe it's a common thing, but when you feel like that, you don't feel like everyone else feels like that.
Well, and what you're
You know how that
describing
goes.
is the vast majority of the fire service, because I mean, honestly, not most people don't work at Jobtown. They don't. They
Yeah,
don't work
right,
in the,
right.
and even if they do work in Jobtown, there's only 2 or 3 busy houses. The rest of the houses are just normal. And so there isn't just this overabundance and plethora of experiential experience to be had. So most people
No,
do
for
have to
sure, for sure.
you have to go and get it from where you can get it. And so
Yeah, for sure. I think, again, if you're watching this, everybody knows that you got to build the Rolodex somehow. And so those of us that don't go to 100 fires a year, we do it with every other avenue that is available to us. It's the conferences, it's the studies, it's FSRI, it's reading, it's the publications, it's the podcast, and it's the training ground, and it's trying to drill and train realistically, and create
yes.
those conditions to try your best to build that Rolodex as if you were going to fires all the
Right.
time.
And
Um,
obviously that the building the Rolodex is better if you could go to fires and do it,
oh,
obviously,
for sure. Yeah,
without a
for
doubt.
sure.
But when you don't have that option, that's why
What are you going to do?
I reference you and how many times I've seen you at conferences, and I've seen you there, not just there, you're also taking notes. You're also, always plugged in, always.
Mm.
And it's one of the reasons you're on the scrap today is because you are a plugged in chief who goes and tries to
Absolutely.
better himself, and you prove it with your actions, not just talking. And
Well,
so,
I appreciate that.
and no, absolutely. I love the talk about. I hear it all the time. If you have an experience, you can't teach it. If you have an experience, you can't write an article on it or anything like that. And I understand what they're saying. It
Yeah,
kind of
right. For
like
sure.
stay in your lane. Don't talk about stuff you don't know. But at the same time, not every what it's a tough
There's
dichotomy that's almost
yeah,
created.
there's a fine line for sure, because people want to hear from different types of people. I mean, there's a reason why there's so many popular instructors, and there's different strokes for different folks. And I don't. No one loves listening to everyone all the time. There's people that speak to you in ways. There's instructors that say things that and you've heard before, but you feel like you've heard it for the first time.
Right.
When they said it. And so I know that we all need to hear from people other than the guys that work for the huge, urban, busy department. It's just hard to tell yourself that sometimes. It's hard to You just kind of feel like a fraud. Like, well, I don't know why anyone would want to listen to me, but it is what it is. It's all
No,
good.
no, absolutely, absolutely, and it's real. The and like like you, I love the fact you talked about those people that you can still remember what they said. Mark von Oppen for me completely blew my mind the first time I saw him
Mm.
speak. It did, and same thing with Kurt Isaacson. The first time I was like,
Yeah, for
holy
sure.
holy smokes! Because all I'd ever had before Kurt was the EMT refresher, the hazmat tech refresher put on by the local uh, fire service training organization,
Yeah.
and it's like,
I,
holy smokes, you can love this
oh
job and
my.
be passionate about it.
Yeah, you can talk like that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's probably his story is he probably has there's probably a group of instructors that have changed the trajectories of people's career more than anyone else. I was just talking a couple weeks ago with Chief Reinwald about when he started FD Tactics.
right.
The first conference he put on was a little like 2-day conference in the Woodlands. And he brought Chief Ike down for the first and I'll never forget sitting in the front row of that class in 2018. It literally, it's like I was hearing about the fire service for the first time.
Yes.
I mean, it was mind blowing, and so that set me on a path. 2018 was like, I like I just consumed Kurt Isaacson like material from that day on, and then everything else that kind of comes with it. But
No, and I
it's mind
remember
blowing.
I got to catch Reinwald in Vegas. He did one in Vegas, and Romagus was there, and Reinwald. And I don't remember who else. I'll be leaving people out, but I was like, I turned it into a 2-day vacation with Amanda, and then I got to go to that conference, and then he did the Third Coast down there in Galveston,
Yep.
and I got
Yep.
to catch
Yep.
2 of those, and it was phenomenal, just absolutely awesome.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing you in Kima. I think it was the
Yeah, the Kima
third
Boardwalk.
year or
Yeah,
something. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember having dinner with my wife in one of the West restaurants down there. And I think you and Amanda walked in. I'm like, that's the guy that just started that. It's like a weekly firefighter podcast.
yeah.
I kid you not. My wife Tara was like, you were kind of talking about doing something like that, and I was like, yeah, but I would never pull the trigger on it. This is the guy that's doing it. So
Uh,
it was super, super
that
cool.
was like, I don't even know what year that was. That was pre-COVID, I think.
It
So
was for sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
it was.
it was very early in the scrap. That's awesome, man. Okay, change. I love this topic because we get that's probably one of the number one questions we get on the scrap.
Sure,
It's
of
up there,
course.
but how do you make a change in your organization? How do you implement a change in your department? And of course, I think he was in the audience earlier. I haven't seen anything recently, but Rob Effin Fisher, the absolute answer always is that 10 pounds of pressure 100% of the time. But
Yeah, right. Of course.
talk to me about the changes, and you've seen it in 2 organizations, and just talk to me about the process.
Well, I don't think I'm going to have any, miracle answers or say anything that anyone else hasn't. But if the scrap tonight was a drinking game, then I think every time I said John Maxwell or quoted something that I had read for him, it would be a take
Time.
a drink moment. And so I think that's his stuff has just always kind of spoke to me in a certain way. And so if you buy into that, Maxwellian or whatever you want to call it, a school of thought, then leadership is influence.
Absolutely.
And so if you're going to change or you're going to lead or you're going to influence, um, foundationally, that's relationships. And so you have to figure out how to build relationships so that people trust you, know you, respect you, believe what you're going to say. Um, and so I do think change and leadership are, they're kind of go hand in hand, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, with change in general, there's things like patience and like Rob's talking about perseverance and consistency and all these things. But um, I think just building relationships and leading from every level, every rank. I think that's where we've seen, and just having people, open-minded people in the right places, the right positions, and the right times. Maybe some of it's luck, um, but John Maxwell is kind of where I'm going to lean.
Oh yeah, and I can't think
That's
of
what.
it's hard to pick someone to lean on better. In
Yeah.
the leadership sphere. I mean, you sat through the 9 Ls, And you know that I reference him, I don't know how many times, but leadership is influence being one of the biggest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's influence. And so I know the questions about change, and I've been fortunate enough to see some change, and it seems very drastic. But when you look back, it might have been, it's been 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and I come from two small organizations, so I know you probably know it well. There's some famous adage about the rudder size of never
Yeah.
changes, but the size of the ship, it's the size of the ship that changes. So the same rudder that turns the Webster Fire Department is what turns the Houston Fire Department. So we can make a 180 spin, in Webster, and something like that in Houston might take years,
Years. Yeah.
years. So yeah, I think when we talked, I was referencing a change in those departments and keeping perspective and how important that is. If you flash back 7 years ago in Webster, for example, which is my full-time job, we had low bid hose, 100 psi automatic fog nozzles, play pipes on all the 2.5, fiberglass poles, TNT tools and foo bars everywhere, enough pick head axes for everyone to have their own for some reason. Just I don't know what it was that ISO said. Everyone needs their own pick head axe or something goofy like that.
No,
But
no, and
uh,
dude, that's crazy. You're just describing so many things, and it's like whenever you ask why do we have this, they say ISO. That was like this blanket answer, and it would not
yeah,
even know if it was true. But go ahead, sorry.
I feel like someone's about to jump in the screen at me here real fast. Chief DeYear is creeping in on me over here. So no,
Gotcha.
he's gonna stay behind. He's gonna stay behind the camera. Get out of here. Get out of here. But anyway, um, I lost my train of
The
thought.
change, all the things 7 years ago at Webster.
Yeah, no. So, having been through all that, having been part of the group that was fighting to move away from some of those things, trying to get caught up with the times, because we were getting outside of our bubble and seeing that, not necessarily we were doing things wrong, that we could be doing things better. And everything that I say about Webster kind of translates to the volunteer department that I've been a part of for over 2 decades, because they're kind of brother sister organizations right next to each other, automatic aid partners. And again, having a leadership role in both organizations allows you to kind of we train together,
Right.
we think the same, we act the same a lot of the times, and so there's a lot of crossover. But um yeah, excuse me, 7 years ago was just a different 7, 8 years ago. These are different organizations. The tools and equipment look different. They're set up different. No one had heard of the Minuteman. No one
Right.
had heard of Andy Fredericks. It's an organization where today
Did you work
you'd
where I
say, hey,
worked? Is that where you
yeah,
worked?
yeah, right.
No, it's
They're all the
100%.
same. But you fast forward now, and it's like, again, you got to have some open-minded fire chiefs to let some of this stuff happen, which I'm fortunate to have currently in both of those organizations. But um, the culture and the mindset and the mentality now is unbelievable.
That's
You know,
awesome.
a 2 year guy in these departments would run circles around me 13 or 14 years in. And 13 or 14 years in, I would have told you I was pretty good at it
Right.
and knew what I was talking about. And again, you've heard this 100 times, but a 2 or 3 year guy now is just a phenomenal fireman. And they get frustrated because things aren't moving and changing
Right.
as fast as they want to. And so that's where this perspective comes in. Like, when you can have those conversations and be like, I know where you're at. I've been there.
Right.
Um, Things are pretty good and you have it pretty good. But you know, yeah, anyway, I think keeping perspective always kind of allows me to, um, you got to know where you've been, where you're going, where you came from, all that kind of stuff. But uh, just kind of
Beautiful.
rambling now at
No.
this point. But
No, absolutely addressing the change, and the point about the 2-year fireman running circles around probably me at 15 years, and the crazy part is I remember when I was younger being like, hey, the people, why is this way in this department? We need to change. When I was young, and and I didn't appreciate till later that the generation before me had their own battles and fought their own things to
Yeah,
get
for
stuff
sure.
done, that I was able to stand on that and say, "Hey, we can do better." And then the people that came after me are going to be able to stand on that and say, "Hey, we can do better." And it's up to me to make sure I'm not offended that they say we can do better. Uh,
Yeah,
I got
100%.
questions coming at you from the audience. Shane Bridges, come. Well, I'm going to go. Yeah, I like this one. Stick around. You have to tell me who you are. Stick around.
That's a drone. That's a drone guy.
Oh, it is. Stick around. Oh, absolutely.
That's
It's Michael.
that's
I'm
Mike.
sorry. Team Ramrod. Uh, I've got one for you. All the classes you've gone to, I just didn't put it together. Stick around. I'm glad
Mm.
you. I'm sure you've heard some repetitive but really good info. What makes an instructor stand out from the rest of them that you enjoy? I love that question.
Oh, that's a great question. Um, yeah, there are instructors. I mean, they're popping in my brain that stick out. Um, and I think they all have something in common. I think it's what speaks to me is some sort of blend of uh, the way they articulate. It's like they're thoughtful, smart, articulate. These are Aaron Fields, Nick Papa, Jay Bonifield, Nick Ledeen. It's like they're wordsmiths. Like how do they speak like that? They the every word is, it feels like is it's like premeditated. It's chosen very carefully. They blend all the data and all the science with seemingly real world experience, and they just tell it in a way where I've never been lost. I've never been confused. They paint a very clear picture of the things that they're talking about. And um, yeah, those guys, I'm just like certain instructors speak to me a certain way. I think just the confidence and the way they speak, the way they articulate, and those guys are kind of right up there for me.
No, and the names you just rattled off, Papa Ladine, Fields, Bonifield, as examples, it's like, holy smokes! Could you rattle off a better list of instructors to when you're talking about wordsmiths? I
Yeah, I
absolutely
mean, it's just unbelievable.
loved the question. I may work that into a 5 questions for firefighters in the future. Is a class that impressed you and why? That's a cool
Yeah,
idea. Someone
it's
someone write
it
that
is. It's
down.
good.
Do the Kurt. Write that down. Someone so I don't forget it. That's mainly why. So like I forgot. Shane Bridges coming at you said, when battling with imposter syndrome or syndrome effects, what is your barometer to know you're on the right track?
Mm, that's a really interesting. I I think I said softball, Shane. Throw a softball. Um,
You got ringers out there throwing you questions?
no, no.
Go
Shane from
ahead.
Pearland, those guys are killing it over there. So, excuse me. No, what's the question about being on the right track in terms of kind of, centering yourself and kind of getting out of those feelings of
I would say, how
anxiety,
do you keep your
self-doubt, whatever.
confidence? How do you keep your confidence that you're doing the right thing? Do you have any sort of
Yeah.
barometer?
Yeah, well, I think it's just continuing to, positive self-talk, fight against those, you know, again, if I feel, and at times I know that stuff isn't real and true, but it feels like it is when you feel like that, right? I mean, this kind of could be a lot of things are like this, but um, trying to tell myself that that's not real, that's not true, that's just how I feel, it's made up. And I tell you what helps a lot is the people around you kind of pulling you out of that. I'll be honest, I'm wildly nervous right now. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I've been sweating, I've been terrified, like leading up to this. But what has made me feel more and more comfortable is getting those text messages and phone calls from people finding out that I'm going to be, your buddies, your friends, your family telling you, like, people saying they believe in you and saying you're going to do well. Um, you know, I,
Hey, I can tell you
it's
this.
things like that.
I posted that, you're coming on. I put out the normal post, or I should say, Sam put out the normal post. I created it with your pictures. You sent me some great pictures to use, and I had to pick one of them. You know what I'm saying?
But
And uh, long story short, the response you got from the support you got, yeah, you have to take I've pride in that, and in a good way, and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and
that
I appreciate that.
no, because it was
Those are
really
the
cool.
things.
It was great to
Yeah,
see.
and those are the things you have to look for, because part of the whole deal of feeling like this is that uh, you feel like your successes aren't even fully warranted. Like, this is part of the whole imposter syndrome, is like the successes you have were kind of luck or accidental. And there's, you can look this up. There's huge celebrities and stars and authors and uh, that legitimately struggle with this. And
Yeah.
like Maya Angelou might have been one of the most famous person that brought this to light. And she basically said something like she'd write a book and it would get published. And she was convinced it was going to be this book that got published that proved and showed everyone that she was just a big phony. And then she'd write another book, it'd get published. And the it was a cyclical kind of thing. And so, for whatever reason, I don't meet the demographics. I don't meet the childhood upbringing. I don't meet the abuse. I don't meet the trauma. But for whatever reason, just I've always felt like whatever successes maybe weren't deserved
Mm.
or earned. That promotion was, did I really deserve the promotion? You
Sure.
know,
No.
um, a lot of us struggle with taking compliments in general. Like,
I think there's
just
a two-edged sword to humility. It's humility is a phenomenal thing. I think it's a key to being a good leader. I really do. I think it's paramount and key so you can hear and you can learn and you can grow. But there is a downside to humility, and that's if you have to have the pull of the ego. You know what I'm saying? That it's
for sure.
you have to have you can't have too much because then you become just a know-it-all asshole, plain and simple. And if you get too much of
Yeah.
the other, then you just meek, and meek's not the right word, but kind of mousy, and like
No,
you
no,
said,
you're right.
yeah.
Yeah,
And so it's this
you're right.
balance that needs to exist, but it's so tough because humility is so important. And you never want to believe your own press, and
Yeah,
you never want to start espousing
that's
yourself.
right.
And so
Yeah,
it's a weird push pull that has to exist to be effective. But it's what you're describing.
yeah.
And so, but awareness, I think, self
Yeah,
awareness.
self-awareness, yeah. Leaning into that, that emotional intelligence stuff, trying to introspective, start in the mirror, um, all that kind of stuff. I think is important.
No doubt. Uh, Travis Smith wants to know if you get the answer for this one. We're gonna write the book together and we'll get rich together. How can you change a white collar fire department more blue collar?
A white collar fire department. So, what do we really meaning by that? I guess is that mean white collar as in i- it's all policy procedure? Um,
Typically, usually what they're talking about is like you're saying, it's policy driven, procedure driven. Uh, what I get from it most of the time is looking good is more important than being good, right?
okay,
And
yeah.
and so the
Mhm.
appearance is what matters, not necessarily actually being good. And the thing is it isn't something where it's either or. You can look good and be good. But
Sure, yeah.
when you push the be good off
Mm.
to the side and say all that matters is who's following the rules, who's checking the boxes, who's wearing the right things. That's what I
Yeah,
take from it.
that okay, yeah, no, no, and that adds up, and that's tough, because I don't think there's an organization that exists that doesn't have some chief officer that would like suits to be polished and collars and to be on and is anti hoodie and so on and so forth. And so, yeah, that's an impossible question with an
Yeah.
impossible answer. It's some sort of balance, like everything. There's some sort of meeting in the middle, and because again, I think a lot of us can swing to the far side and go, Mrs. Smith doesn't care what you're wearing when you show up, to her house fire. Or whatever. You look at those iconic pictures of, FDNY firemen in the street, and everyone's wearing something different.
Yeah.
They couldn't look more mismatched, than they do, but they just, came down from some
Not
fire
singing
some of
burner.
us wouldn't,
Yeah. Yeah.
you'll never experience in your career. But so yeah, there's a fine line. And um I know for us, when we deal with that stuff, kind of the mantra is don't be an easy target. Let's do the things around the certain people that they want us to do and look a certain way, and then focus on what's important. If you got someone that's really stickler for uniform, just don't let it be an issue. But if it's something like your fire department doesn't want you to train and drill because it's CE solutions for training, and it's that whole thing. Well, I think that's a little bit. that's a harder fight. That's a more difficult
Much difficult
battle.
fight. Yes. And I
Yeah,
love kill them with
yeah,
competence, man. That's one of my sayings. Kill them with competence, man. If they're going to bury
yeah,
you in rules, just follow all the rules so they can't put any more on you, and just kill them, crush them.
yeah,
Be so good at it they can't do anything about it. Say, yeah, I did it.
yeah.
Check, check,
A
check.
lot of times
Next.
following the. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You said check, check. So
Oh
that's
no,
a
I was
bad
checking.
joke.
I was checking boxes in my head just to
Yeah.
kill them. I was, yeah.
Some sometimes following all the rules doesn't take a whole lot of time and energy. It just feels like it does. So like just fall in line with some of those things and then do what's important and get out and drill and do the things you have to do and do the things you need and want to do that are gonna make a difference.
And both me and Marshall, I think I'm speaking for him, but I think he'll agree. Is it can crush your soul to do it. It can. It can
Oh
hurt.
yeah, yeah.
But you're playing a long game. You're winning the long game, not the you're not bloodying a nose in the short little brawl. And although the bloodying a nose sometimes can feel so much better than
Oh
following the
yeah,
rules.
for sure.
And it's yeah, everybody wants to see blood. Uh
Mm.
Rob Fisher's coming at you. Rob Effin Fisher says, question, Chief Boyd, other than agility, what's another benefit to working in a smaller organization?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. A lot of times I think, again, maybe that's something to do with the way I think. You tend to think there's more negatives. Like, if we were only bigger and if we were only busier. But there are tons of benefits to being in a small department. One is, obviously he said other than agility, it's easy to pivot when
Yeah.
when you're small. Um, but there, relationally, I think it's a big key. I know everybody that I work with and volunteer with. All three shifts. I know everybody's name, first and last. I know their wife's name. Um, hoping to know all of their kids' names at some point. So relationally, it feels a little bit more close knit, a little bit more like a family. We have a fantastic history of, uh, come Halloween, come Christmas, guys who have kids, let's get them off. Let's get these single guys coming in and covering and working. Things like that, where I think, again, my perspective on leadership and influence is relationships.
Right
And it
on.
all starts and stops with relationships. And so, um, you just, not that there can't be a relationship in 100 fire station department, but um, it's easier for us to get on the same page about things and head in the same direction, uh, with things, just because of the size of the organization. I don't know
Well,
if that's
just
like a
right.
cop out, like
No,
easy answer or whatever, but
it's spot on because it goes right with your rudder, the
um,
rudder in the boat. If you're on an aircraft carrier with 2,000 people crew, it's you can't have a relationship with them all. But if you're in a small schooner with 100-man crew, you can know every person in there on some level. It's just
yeah,
easier. It's easier. And right to your point of relationships equals influence equals John Maxwell. Leadership is influence.
yeah, yeah, right. It's the same
It just
thing.
plays
And
out.
being being a chief officer in those departments, I take the influence that I have very, very seriously. And so, um, small departments accessibility is much different. But the access I have to the fire chief and the access I have to the company officers on and off my shift are much different than,
Right.
a big department. So it's almost like the influence, is magnified, or it carries a little bit more weight than, just because of the size of the organization.
Love it. I absolutely love it. Great question from Rob. Speaking of which, Rob, I love the side conversation going on. I'm going to take a minute here to hype the Scrap Solo. The Scrap Solo, I'm recording the first episode of it tomorrow with Chief Candace Ashby. Uh, we're going to be focusing in on toxicity in the workplace, in the fire department, in an organization. That's the topic we're going to solo out. And I bring that up to say to Rob, I would love to have that conversation on a solo about the devil's advocate
Mm.
uh, standards that you're talking about. I think that'd be fun. So, all that being said, several people in chat have asked Marshall to weigh in on Euro versus U.S. helmets. Is there a story? Is there a story here? I don't know.
Yeah,
Should I ask this
that
question?
is that is out of control, and Sam should ban those people from the chat as fast as possible. I will give a quick quick down and dirty on that real quick is again, perspective and change. And the
Okay.
organization that I work for, I mentioned 7, 8 years ago, we looked very different. And that's old hose, triple layer, 100 psi fog, et cetera, et cetera. There was a time, a previous administration that said, you know, we're going to stand out. This the Webster Fire Department is going to stand out, and the way they chose to do that is they just ordered everybody European fire helmets and said, we're not going to test them, talk about them, ask your opinion. You're just going to wear them. And they invited the Houston Chronicle down, and they took pictures and they wrote articles. And the first fire department in Texas to fully adopt the newer, safer European style. I mean, the whole thing was kind of a joke. Um, so yeah, that's what they're referencing. We call
Okay.
those the dark days. We call them the dark days, the dark ages in Webster, that we no longer wore 'em. We wore them for about 18 months. And if anyone really wants to get into a conversation about it, we wore a Rosenbauer helmet. They're not lighter, they're not safer, they don't sit lower on your head. It's hard to hear them. It traps heat differently. It's not the European version of the European fire helmet. There's no integration. The whole thing was a disaster. We had a guy get burned, and we got rid of him. And so yeah, kind of
Hey,
end of discussion. But it's the only time I've ever been embarrassed being a fireman, to be
gotcha.
honest. Like stepping out of the fire truck, and the looks in the comments that we would get, is wild.
I love it. I absolutely. I don't mean I'm
Yeah.
laughing at you. I want you to know that I'm not laughing
Yeah.
with you at all. Ugh.
I've never felt embarrassed in my bunker gear before, for 18 months.
But you can
18 months.
honestly say you tried them out, and this isn't just
Yeah.
I don't like the look, so I hate it. This you have more experience with it
No,
than
for sure. Yeah, for years after that, I fielded questions in the firehouse from departments all over the country, training chiefs and PPE committees, who had seen the article and were curious about the helmets and want to know what we thought. And the chief got his wish. We made the headlines, and we got publicity. And I feel some satisfaction that I potentially was instrumental in preventing the European helmet in fire departments all across the country
had an
after those
impact, baby.
conversations.
Had
Yeah,
an impact.
yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Uh, Luke
Mm.
Stevenson coming at you from down under wants to know. He's from the future, by the way. I have to say
Yeah,
that every
right.
time. I have to say it every time. Uh, how do we avoid the trap of pursuing change for change's sake?
Yeah, no, there's got to be a reason something changes. Most definitely. Um, you know, little changes change too, and so we have these conversations about changing things every time we come to work. Somebody doesn't like something, the shift before or after, change something up, and there's a loop where there wasn't a loop, and there's a nozzle where it used to be a set. There's always some conversation. And shouldn't the tools be mounted out here, or now they're mounted in the cab, or vice versa? um, for me, change starts with, can you articulate the reason why
Oh, why, baby?
this
Yes.
change needs to happen? I don't want to hear about why something's better or something's worse if it can't be like rationally and logically articulated. Like, we just don't need firemen, and their passion. It's this, an excuse for why they're fired up and arguing about one thing or another. Like, I want to hear logical, rational articulation of why something needs to change,
Right on.
and then we take the next step. I mean, and then really, where in these two organizations, everything comes down to the stopwatch. Really, if no one cares, one over the other, then we're going to do what's fastest, because obviously seconds count. And so
Ooh, I love that as the
y-
final
you know
decide. Is that a agreed upon? Is that kind of like a value that you guys all agree on? Like, hey, we can't
it's
just
kind of an informal thing. We
okay.
we 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 put things up next to each other on a fairly regular basis. I mean, and it might sound stupid, but there was a time where, like, the water can had three different positions on the truck that people thought it might make. Well, we just took videos of air brake to, like, a front simulated front door, grabbing and dismounting the water can from these three different locations. and trying to prove or not prove anyone wrong, but just show like what's the easiest and what's the quickest,
Right. And
because
let the clock
we
decide.
don't really, yeah, just let the clock decide. If and I don't say, it's not that nobody cares, because in this situation, probably three different people cared about these three different locations. But um, you know, those type of feelings don't really, really matter in that situation. We need to do what's makes the most sense. And a lot of times it's the stopwatch that makes the most sense.
Right on. Right on. No, I love that as a deciding factor.
Mhm.
Uh, Rob Fisher coming at you. I like this question. I had to read it, make sure I had it right because it's a longer one. Question: given the significant changes you've seen since first hearing Chief Ike lecture, what's one thing you'd like to
Hmm.
go back in your career and change for you, not your organization?
Wow.
Rob
Wow,
likes to get philosophical.
yeah, that's a great question. Well, I'll say the first thing that pops in my head, changing for me probably affects my organization. So again, maybe it's a cop out, easy answer, but excuse me, when I first heard Chief Ike and Chief Ridewall speak, it was almost kind of liberating. It was like they were saying things that I had thought about but felt like I couldn't say out
Yeah,
loud.
you felt them in your
You know,
soul,
you
but
know,
yes.
right. I mean, there were so many things that kind of freed you up, ways I felt about how the fire service would talk about cancer in one way and can completely dismiss it in other ways. Talk about, I don't know, just things that seem to make sense. Forward laying. The first engine forward laying was a pretty standard thing in my area, like everyone's area. Uh, can't throw it. You can only throw a ladder one way. It can't be can't be backwards. It's always got to be
Oh,
the
okay.
halyard versus. I mean, just thing after thing after thing where you felt like you know I felt liberated really to to say the things that they kind of freed me up, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget that again, 2018, the Woodlands. I think Chief Ike was slotted for 2 or 4 hours. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
Um, and Reinwald and Romagus, I think, were slotted for the rest of the time, and they ended up, deferring their time. As I think Kyle has done in a bunch of conferences, where he just gives his time to to whoever is on a roll and needs it. But that's what happened that day, and I think Chief Ike just went off like he does, and I sat in the front row, just being like, you know what? I'm tired of holding it all in. If this guy can do it, and it's proven with experience and fires and saves and rescue, and, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
It's like it really it felt kind of liberating. It was like, you know what? I've had a problem with guys footing the ladder from behind it since I was 2 years into the job and saw a tool fall and hit somebody in the head. I've always thought, why shouldn't we be on the outside with so, but we didn't do that in those organizations. And so it was those type of things where I was like, you know what? We're going to do what makes sense, um, and what's best for people and what's best for the citizens and what's fastest. And it doesn't matter if we've always done it or not. We'll address the change without, like you said earlier, um, saying that the way we've always done it was wrong, or saying that
Right.
the way that anyone has done it, who came before us, was doing it wrong. That's not the case. We're just um, we're changing something for the better.
I love it. I got one coming at you from the Gavinator underscore 10. So he may be related to you, but
Yeah, this is my oldest son.
he says, any tips for balancing being a firefighter and raising 4 kids at the same time?
Wow, that's a very thoughtful question. Very thoughtful question. Uh, yeah, man. I guess the easy answer is, I mean, how do you feel about the term work-life balance? Do you feel like that's a fallacy?
I think
The
personally, are you asking me or
yeah, I mean, what's
I've
the
always said the
work-life
same
balance
I
thing?
always said the same thing over and over. There's no such thing as work-life balance. That's my answer every time. There is no such thing as work-life balance. Your family comes first. If you get that out of whack, you are out of whack. You are out of balance. Okay. Or
Yeah,
out of calibration is what I like to say. Go ahead.
that's right. So I think there has to be a pecking order, and you have to stick with it, or things get out of whack. And so you mentioned at the beginning, the faith, family, firemanship is sort of the pecking order. And if any of that gets out of whack, you know, if I uh, you know, if my faith gets out of whack and I'm not giving that the time and energy that it needs and it deserves with you know, my relationship with God. And then I put, you know, if something's going to suffer, and so that order is very important. Um, but what we ask all our firefighters, and this is probably no different than Moore, Oklahoma, is when you come to work for 24, 48 hours, we want you to be all in for 48 hours.
Yeah.
Right? We want you to come to work, and we just want you to eat, breathe, live, sleep firefighting and the Webster Fire Department, or the, you know, the Moore Fire Department.
Right on.
Knowing that sometimes that's impossible, right?
Sure.
Because life, you know, home bleeds over to work and work bleeds over to home.
Absolutely.
Um, but but that's the goal, and we want you to do that, and let us know if you can't for some reason because of personal issues. And the fact, you know, as family and brothers and sisters and leadership, we should be somewhat dialed into some of that personal stuff that's been going, going on at home anyway. But
Oh, you're back to
the
talk about
caveat
that
to that,
relationship, those
yeah,
relationships, baby. Yeah.
it's it. It's all relational. And again, that's it's all relational. Faith, family, and firemanship, all three of them. It's all about relationship. And so at the end of that 48 or 24 hours, what we want you to do is go home and be all in at home,
Yes.
right? We want you to be all in, knowing that, again, the just the opposite is true. Sometimes work carries over to home, but we want the relationship at home to be such that, again, your family understands when things are out of whack, and you communicate that stuff. It's funny what communication does in terms of
Oh, yeah.
solving. Yeah, I don't know what we've never gotten it right, but um, faith, family, then my job is the order. I try to always keep that. I try to be as present as I can when I'm at work and give those guys, which are my family, my attention. And when I'm at home, be present and all in. And I have an amazing wife and amazing family that helps, hold me accountable as well. When accountability is kind of a big deal, right? At work and at home.
Right on,
And
man.
so,
No, great answer,
um,
brother. And I like the
yeah,
all in, because we all understand that there's gonna be emergencies at home that take your time away from the job. Those are emergencies. And
for
hopefully your
sure.
family understands there's gonna be emergencies at work that take your time away, that shouldn't. But those should be, if you keep it right, if you keep those priorities correct, hopefully those are minimal and you can have the support network on both sides to take care of those
Yeah.
things. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
like
It,
this
it,
one.
it,
Oh,
it's a
go ahead.
process.
No,
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 I'm
good.
saying, you don't get it right or wrong. It's an ongoing thing that you
Yeah,
get it
there's no
wrong.
winning.
Well,
You don't
obviously,
there's no
you,
finish
you
line.
get it,
It's just,
you get it wrong more often, and you continue to learn and grow and
I
all
love
that.
Simon Sinek. He talks about, you don't win at marriage. You don't win at working
Yeah.
out. You keep
You don't
going to the
win.
gym and you keep on putting in the work.
Mhm. That's
So,
it.
Colton Goody. I like this one because I saw something in the Vigilante Discord earlier today about Through the Lock that you posted.
Mhm.
I didn't delve into it, but I glanced at it, read it. But he said, "What's your thoughts on respectful entry?"
Well, this is a guy that work with, so he's another respectful entry, through the lock, passive entry, whatever you want to call it, nerd, like
Right.
I am. But just that's just ironic timing today. A young firefighter on the Discord, I think he said he's been on the job for 2 years. He posted a picture of a commercial storefront door and said, there's a like a Adams right style lock with a mortise, a cylinder, and their K-12 couldn't slide over it because it was recessed. And it was like, how would you? We had a plan A, to pull this cylinder, and the tool couldn't grab it. How else would you get in the door? And so it just, gave me, again, completely, interesting timing that this was just earlier
Yeah.
today. And not wasn't really planning on talking about through the lock. It seems like a pretty boring topic on the weekly scrap,
Negative.
Colton.
Negative.
But anyway, so yeah, I was able just to kind of brain dump on him about all the different ways, quickly, that you could possibly get in, the different tools that you'd be using, the company that makes those tools, through 7 or 8 different things at him. And he was like, did you see the response? I thought the response was cool. Like, this is the reason I joined the Discord, was to get answers like
I
that. And
had
so,
I don't think I've seen
uh,
that response yet. I saw
yeah,
your response to his
so
picture, but yeah,
yeah. So it's kind of cool. And
that is cool.
again, through the lock is nothing new. It's been around. people have, again, like we do in the fire service, rebrand it respectful entry, rebrand it, brand it passive entry. But through the lock forcible entry has been around forever. Now there's a bunch of new fancy tools that can be used, and so where you might have in the past 4 or 5 ways to get into a, let's say, a commercial storefront door, there's probably easily 10 or 12 different ways to get through a door. The reason I like the topic so much is it bleeds over into every other thing that we do, and it's twofold. One, I like the problem solving and the creativity
Right
involved
on.
in it. I think the problem solving aspect is one of the things I love about this job more than anything. It's we want to be tested, we want to come up real time, real speed, and work through the algorithm. And through the lock, forcible entry in general has a pretty defined algorithm and flow chart, and it's pretty deep. It's not like just two. I mean, you could write a whole page
Yeah.
of sort of your algorithm based on conditions, and so I like that challenge of matching up. How much time do we have based on conditions, based on the severity of the call? That's going to determine, where in my A to Z algorithm I'm going to start this
How
forcible entry process.
how much does speed take over the
Yeah,
algorithm? Yeah.
speed's the name of the game, right? If the building's on fire, we're not worried about trying to grab a latch or use a bypass tool or loading technique or something like that. We're okay breaking stuff when things are on fire.
No,
But
I
I
remember,
come from the
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say I come from the land of the commercial fire alarm, the smells and bells,
Yeah.
the general alarm at 2 a.m. Nothing visible, no odor, no key holder, keys in the Knox box aren't working, and so 10 years ago we would have broke something. 10 years ago we did break stuff.
Right.
We broke stuff all the time, and so are we doing what's most fun for us, or are we doing what's best for the citizens we serve?
Sure.
And so those are two different things. And that carries into the second point of the why I like it so much. It's um, it, everyone remembers Hurricane Harvey. We were like ground zero for Hurricane Harvey, right? The 500-year flood. It was ground zero was basically like 3 counties. One of the counties, Galveston County, uh, you know, the water destroyed thousands and thousands of homes. Well, 50% of all homes destroyed by Hurricane Harvey in that county had no flood insurance. And so 50% of all homes destroyed with all property lost got $0. There was no insurance. And so that thought and idea has never really it's never really lost, it's never really left me. And so I just kind of treat every home and every business as if it's owned by someone and this is all they have.
Right on.
And so I want to get in with minimal damage. I want to be able to resecure because we're public servants and we're going to do what's right for them, not what's fun for us or what we've always done, because that's the right thing to do. And and if it takes a little more time, that's fine. Where does it fall within the sort of the time
Sure.
severity
The severity
conditions
of what you're
flow
looking at.
chart?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But is it more important to get back to sleep? So smash the door down because it's, I don't say
Yeah.
but in all likelihood you're chasing a faulty wire or insert whatever
Yeah,
on the
right.
alarm. Right.
And props to the two organizations I'm in. They've adopted this stuff with open arms, and it's become we actually, we Colton helps. We teach a lot of through the lock stuff in our area, and I get snapshots sent to me on a regular basis of guys in departments in our area using these techniques for the first time to get through, a door, a commercial door, a rear door with a guard latch where they've cut down a carpenter square and they've used it for the first time, or just something really simple, but you don't know what you don't know. And which that's never been said on the scrap before, I bet. You don't know what you don't know. And through the lock is just knowing a few things and having a few tools, and then this world opens up to you that kind of never existed before. So
Right
anyway.
on. No, I love it. I love it. Man, Tony Nunez coming at you. He says, what are some things that you have taken from your full-time house to your volunteer house and vice versa?
because you do have a unique. I mean, there's a lot of people that work both, but unique, plugged in, white helmet, both. So talk to me.
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting. I love both of these organizations. I live in the community I volunteer in, small bedroom community, one station volunteer fire department, 100% volunteer. And then the neighboring city is the city I work for, 100%, career department. So I have a wild 5 to 7 minute drive to work in the morning. And but back to some of the things we talked about. It's where I live, and it's where I work, and it's where I grew up. So there's a personal aspect to it. When we're on the side of the road for an accident, I'm getting honked at by somebody that I know. I'm getting a text message texted to me with a picture. If we're grocery shopping, I'm running into somebody, I go to church with or went to high school with, and that personal touch helps keeps things into
Yeah,
perspective.
absolutely.
Um, but the way you manage and lead people in those organizations are vastly different. Um, I think one of the things I mentioned to you is, again, leadership is influence.
Right.
And if you want to test your ability to lead and influence, you should do it in an environment where you have zero leverage. You have zero
They
leverage
can
over
just
people.
walk
Like,
away and yeah.
if, yeah, they'll just walk away. Uh, uh, you know, y- at work you do it because somebody said so and they sign your paycheck. Um, in Nassau Bay, you have to convince people it's the right thing to do.
Mm.
You have to show and convince and win people over. And fortunately, there's just a jam up group of volunteers there that have bought into it. Because it is true, but it's also not enough to say that Mrs. Smith doesn't care if you're paid or volunteer, right? Because the fire's the same amount of danger, the same amount of work, the same amount of everything. Um, but the worlds are just drastically different. And I don't care what anybody says, the volunteer fire service is a harder version of the fire service. Um, when I walk in the apparatus bay going to work, the guys know what truck they're on, what seat they're riding, the gear is set up exactly how they want it. They know they're going to a fire today. That's their mindset that they drove in with. Their gear is set up just like they're going to a fire. And everything is, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
in the volunteer fire, in the volunteer world, any minute, any time, any day, the thing goes off, guys are running in, you know, you don't even know who's going to be on. I'm sorry if you see this. I got the low battery thing popped up on my phone.
Uh-oh.
Uh, um, yeah, this whole thing was derailed. You know that. Um, so anyway, but yeah, the worlds are just drastically different. You you don't know which guys are going to be there. You don't know once they're there what riding positions they're going to be in. There's an anxiety that every call starts with just because you're behind the eight ball always. This isn't like a live-in of a volunteer fire station with live-ins and shifts. It's a true 100% come from home, come from work, volunteer fire department. And it's operated like that from the beginning. It's got incredible culture. It has an incredible fire chief who's open-minded and has been there for 30 plus years as the fire chief.
Wow.
And yeah,
No, that's
just
an unusual story in and of itself, because usually it's the
yeah.
opposite. Been there so long, God, could he leave, please? So we can
No.
make some changes.
Been been there so long, lived in the community for so long, cares about the
That's
community and the
awesome.
department so much that he's willing to say, even if I don't understand, I trust the guys that do, which is an unusual
Very, very.
situation. So,
That's that
yeah.
humility,
So,
which leads to so
that's
much
it. Yeah.
influence and empowerment. And anyway,
It's
sorry.
wild, right? It's wild. It seems so simple and so easy, and I'm not going to say I run up against the opposite thing at work, but there's just so many. There's so much. It's much more difficult at times, and there's layers to things, and politics and ego and all these other things that are involved, where there doesn't need to be, but sometimes it is what it is.
I love the discussion. I absolutely love the all of it. But you told me low battery. I don't want to finish this solo. So I'm going to
Yeah.
ask you. I got a dozen questions over there still, but
Oh, dude,
I'm going to
we
move
just
to
started talking.
I'm going to move to book or books that you think firefighters should be reading. And I'll be disappointed if you don't say at least one John Maxwell book, but I'm just telling you that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're probably a lot like me, Corley. I don't love to read, so this is going to be a big shock to you. They say leaders are readers, right? What are
All great leaders
listeners?
are readers.
Yeah, I have I have always struggled to read, but the invention of the audiobook was a game changer for me. So I'm gonna rattle off a few that have been kind of bouncing around the head. First three are non-fire service related. So yeah, if you want to dip your toe into leadership and you're someone that doesn't struggle with looking in the mirror and kind of seeing where you stack up, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell is absolutely the place to start. I think if you can follow, he lays it all out for you.
It's so easy.
It's really
It's so firefighter
it's
friendly. It's so, yeah.
it's yeah, leadership is influence. It's very simple. It's not easy. I think someone said that on the podcast earlier. Like firefighting is simple, not easy. Like leadership is simple. It's not easy.
Right on.
You have to care.
Care.
So yeah, yeah. So yeah, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. If you're a girl dad, Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters
Love it.
by Meg Meeker. And if you can approach that book with an open mind and an open heart, it could be it could be an absolute game changer.
Hmm.
An absolute game changer.
I
for you.
wish I'd have read it when my girls were younger. I read it when they were teenagers, and so I wish I'd have read it
Beautiful.
when they were, But I have bought that book for everybody that's since I read it, I've bought it for every firefighter or more that had a girl. So
Yeah.
tells you how much I believe in that book. I believe in that book.
I need to be doing the same. I've actually bought. Thank you. I bought a big stack of them, and I never handed them out for some reason. So I'm gonna
You got a
redo that.
collection? No,
The-
no. Get back on it. All right.
The third one, non-fire service related. If questions about the Christian faith or maybe new to the Christian faith, a Case for Christ by Lee Strobel is a fascinating, interesting read.
Strobel. All right.
Yeah, Lee Strobel, A Case for Christ, and that's real quick on that is he's an investigative journalist for the Chicago Tribune. His wife has a career; they're killing it. They're a young married couple. She becomes a believer, and he's like, basically, what are you doing? Like, where did this come from? We were like a fun married couple, and now you're a Christian. Like what? And so rather than saying, I'm going to just dismiss this because I don't really agree with it, or go the other way and say, well, my wife says it's good, so he does what he does, and he's an investigative journalist. And so he goes down this absolute rabbit hole with fascinating interviews and stories about his work and career. And so just a phenomenal book. I'm re-listening to it. My boys are reading it right now. It's a fantastic book. So
I love it. There's
three non-fire service books, all on Audible. You can read or listen to, and then two fire service books. It's nothing new. It's been said tons of times, both of these, but I love fire service culture and fire service history. I am a believer of understanding where you've been. And if you don't like listening to FDNY, war year stories, I think there's something wrong with you. So Report from Engine Company, from Engine Company 82 and 20,000 Alarms.
There you go.
Report from Engine Company 82, again, also on Audible. I don't think there's an audiobook version of 20,000 Alarms.
Not that I'm aware of.
I'm not, but find someone that has a copy, and maybe they'll let you borrow it or something.
Maybe they'll
like
let
that.
you touch it. No. Great list of books. And Orlando Zapata said Chief is always blasting John Maxwell when he's in the gym. So that's which is crazy, because I think one of the reasons John Maxwell is so popular. I mean, obviously his principles are solid, but his voice is so powerful.
Dude,
it's deep.
It's unbelievable.
He's got a magical voice, but
he has like a Kyle Ramagus voice.
Yes. And most of his books aren't read by him, but they get somebody who sounds like him to read them. And so it's always impressive. But anyway, sorry, that's a side note, because I love John Maxwell's voice. I could listen to him talk.
So
like you
good.
said, Kyle is a perfect example.
Well, I don't think it's a coincidence that the fire service chiefs that everyone are drawn to are John Maxwell fans. Chief Scott Thompson, Chief Shannon Stone. These are students of John Maxwell, which is why they seem to be so. They get it. They're so plugged in. They're so dialed in, and there's lots of reasons, obviously, but I can imagine John Maxwell's a part of it.
Oh, dude, yeah. 21 irrefutable laws is the gold standard. And what is the unlocking the leader within? Or anyway, you get me talking about Maxwell. I love it. We have a thing we do on the scrap. You might have heard of it. It's called the 5 questions for firefighters. And on that, there are no wrong answers. Okay. No wrong answers, only your opinion. And then we give out points. The points are assigned by me with the help of the audience. And I guess we want to know is, Marshall Boyd, are you ready for the 5 questions for firefighters version 4.0?
Yeah, I'll do my best. Let's do it.
Here we go. It's you can do anything in the world. Number 1, you can do anything in the world except be a firefighter. What would you choose to be?
Yeah, can I ask you to qualify something with this question?
I don't know.
I hate to be this guy.
Let's see.
But is this with my current skills and or is this a magic lamp? You can do anything you want to do.
You can do anything in the world.
What you would have done.
You can do anything in the world. What you would have done
if you
except be a firefighter.
Well, I'm going to take it down the path of what do you think you would have done if you wouldn't have become a firefighter? And I went to the University of Houston, got a business degree, was obsessed with sports my whole life. Houston sports, phenom. And my plan all through high school and college was to work for one of the Houston sports organizations. I had an internship with the Houston Texans, and I thought that was going to be the path. But it all got disrupted, by a few things, and one of them was, stumbling into the volunteer fire service. But so something with one of the Houston sports organizations would been was kind of the goal or the dream at one point.
Right on. Just administrative, the sports medicine, or just
I don't know. I mean, a quarterback or
okay, you're saying actual athlete.
No, and not if it's what I would have done, it would have been some sort of nerdy desk job. If it's what I could have done, if there was no no parameters, then yeah, who wouldn't want to be
quarterback
a star
in the NFL friend? Yeah,
athlete
okay, fair enough. Yeah. No. I like both answers. You got max
sports
points.
Yeah.
Max points. I like the clarification.
For sure.
Clarification. I appreciate the clarification. And I may clarify.
It's a lame answer. Yeah.
I may clarify. Well, it's the truthful answer. And so I may clarify it in the future I may give people a magic wand so I get more exciting answers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 2, it's Jobtown. It's time. You're en route and responding. Think of the scene from Backdraft, slapping that tape into that cassette deck. What song are you playing while you're en route?
Yeah, this one's easy for me. I'm glad Eric brought up some rap music last week. Born and raised in Houston, and the Houston rap scene is off the charts. So I don't have to tell you, Corley, you know that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this would be my walk-up song if I was an MLB player. So it would be my tape deck song in the fire truck, and that's "Tops Drop" by Fat Pat.
Tops Drop by
hands down.
Fat
Pat.
Fat Pat. Now, is that from the Houston scene?
His name is Pat. Yes, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
DJ Screwed Up Click, yeah, the whole thing. Yeah.
I got my card revoked last week.
You know that.
Yeah, absolutely. My hip hop rap card was revoked last week. And you get max points for, and I can only have to check with Sam. That is not currently on the Spotify playlist, but it will be added. It will be added.
Okay.
So there we go. Okay. Houston represent. Speaking of the University
a close second, Tupac.
University of Houston, they made it to the Final Four / almost. I mean, they were like, how close was it?
Are you talking about NCAA
basketball?
Final Four?
NCAA basketball. Yeah.
They were in the national championship this year against the Florida Gators. We have time for a quick Florida Gator Houston Cougar story?
Yeah, go. As long as you got battery. I think someone plugged you in, so
They did. They plugged me in. So University of Houston Cougars played the University of Florida Gators
And we were
NCAA men's
there. We
basketball
were at
championship.
FDIC for it.
We were at FDIC. We were in the district tap. We were watching the game, and there's this guy wearing this University of Florida jersey. Just an outlandish character. And I'm sitting at the bar. I'd already talked to him about the Gators winning and me being a Cougar. I'm sitting at the bar with Shay. Uh, Gosh, I wish I could pronounce his name. Filchowski. Do you know Shay Filchowski?
I don't.
Um,
Go ahead.
God, there's another name you need to.
Okay.
So him and Jennifer Williams did an incredible Fire Nuggets podcast. You got to
Okay.
check that out. But anyway, so Chief Ike comes over right before the game starts and says, "You want to make things interesting? $200 on the game." And I'm like, absolutely. I'm flying high. The Cougars are the better team. I'm not even worried. Well, at halftime, the game swung a little bit towards you in the Gators' favor. The game was really close at halftime. Everyone's been having fun. Chief Ike comes over way more confident than he was at the beginning of the game, and he says, "Let's make things interesting. $400." Uh, and Shay, who's sitting next to me, says, "No, that's not what he wants. He's now speaking for me, and now he's running the bet at
He's
this
become
point."
your sports betting agent.
Yes. So he tells Chief, if the Gators win, Marshall will give you $400. If the Cougars win, Marshall presents a class this November at Water on the Fire, a new
Nice.
class you've never seen, never heard of. And he thinks about it and says, "Deal." Shakes my hand. Well, as the story goes, the Cougars lost. They basically gave the game away at the
Yeah.
end
At
of
the end.
it was horrible. And Chief was riding high, and I don't think he changed from that jersey for the next week or so. Um, I paid him up and we laughed about it, but it was one of the highlights of the trip for
It
for
was
me. It
fun.
was a
It was fun to
blast.
see it.
Yeah.
His reaction to the game. You put some drama to
Oh
it.
my
Everybody
gosh.
in the district was
Yeah.
in on it. It was fun. It was a good time.
So much fun. Yeah.
Derailed
Anyway, sorry to
the 5
segue
questions. Back to
yeah.
number 3. Number 3.
Yeah.
So far,
Yeah.
2 for 2, max points. Tomorrow morning, you wake up. You are the chief of department, and you can do whatever you want. What is the first change you are making? This can be a fictional fire department. It can be one of the 2 you work at.
Okay.
Your
Yeah,
answer.
I think it's gonna be less fictional, more reality. And again, these answers are terrible. So here's another cheesy answer. It's just driving morale and culture even more. So it's goofy things like we're gonna issue department hoodies, and it's going to make guys happy, and it's not a big deal, but that's something I would do as the fire chief. We're going to employ and deploy an engine truck deployment model. Guys are going to come to work and they're going to know what apparatus they ride on, and it's not going to change back and forth. There's not going to be cross staffing and things like that. So those are probably the first 2 moves I make is ink in the engine truck, the riding assignments, the apparatus assignments, station assignments, hoodies, and then take a breather.
Marshall, you had me at culture and morale with max points, and then you gave your answer, and it was awesome. Yeah. But I want to know, I'm just digging in and asking this, is do you feel like you give those answers because you hear and understand what your people want, or is those things that just you want?
No, I feel, I'd like to think I want and feel the same things that the guys I work, for and with, want and think. And so, yeah, I know those aren't things that would cost a whole lot of money, but I think those were things that the guys would appreciate.
I wish I could. I think is it Abersoft and Knit Your Ship? I don't remember. I might be getting it wrong and turn the ship around and David Marquet, but he said if it improves morale, and it doesn't cost a lot of money, just do it. And you just said it doesn't cost, if it's going to improve morale and it doesn't cost a lot of money, just do it. It's not that hard to figure out.
It's like I heard a fire chief say once he had this list of 4 or 5 things. It's like, is it illegal? Is it good for the city? Is it good for the fire department? Is it good for the am I gonna, it's like if it meets all the
Is it
standards, just
affordable?
do
Yeah,
it.
just do it. Just pull the
Yeah,
trigger.
just like why are we talking about it?
Yes, man, and that's called shared values and a vision. But I wish more departments had those. 3 for 3 max point, and you got me talking all through the 5 questions here. Number
Yeah,
4 is
sorry,
on
that's my
this
bad.
one. This is on the clock, so we'll be better here. You got 1 minute to answer. You are riding backwards. It's a 4-man engine or truck, your choice. 4-man apparatus. You're riding backwards. You get to pick your dream company to ride with. 1 driver, 1 officer, and 1 firefighter.
Okay. I know what direction I'm going with this. There's so many that I could. I'm terribly indecisive. Uh, and I already mentioned the guys that I really enjoy hearing them speak and teach. They just speak in a way that speaks to me. And so we didn't get to it today in the podcast, but transitioning at one point from the front right seat to the battalion chief buggy is a lonely position. So in this made up game, I'm getting back on the engine with 4 guys I would just love to be chatting with nonstop, and that's Fields, Papa, and Bonifield.
Woo! Doesn't even matter. You're not even giving them you're not even saying who's what.
I'm not giving them riding positions. We might rotate. I don't even know, but it's going to be an engine, and hopefully Nick is okay with that. And we're going to go do some things.
I love it, man. Fields, Papa, and Bonifield.
And I don't know these guys, by the way.
Right.
I've
Oh,
never
okay.
even talked to them. They just but they've talked to me, so
I think they've got about 6 or 7 scraps between them. So it's
right.
I'm a fan. I'll put it that way. I love it. Max points 4 for 4. You're killing it, Marshall. And this is the final one. It will never change. Heavy fire, searchable space. Would you rather be assigned to the nozzle or first in on that window initiated search?
Yeah, this is easy for me. It's the nozzle. It's I want to be it. I want to be there. I want to see it. I want to feel it. I want the GoPro to be recording it. I want on the nozzle 100%.
Easy answer. Max points 5 for 5. Marshall, that officially puts 319 scraps in the books. Thank you, first of all, for spending your evening at Fire in the Sky when you could be out there hanging out with firefighters, hanging out with us, the scrappers. And I cannot thank you enough for doing it. If someone wants to get more info from you, if someone wants to ask some questions, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, they could shoot me a text, call, or send me an email, and I can, I can send that number and email out however you want it, or say it right now. I don't even know what it is that
Completely up to you.
makes the most sense. Yeah, but you can text or call at 832-605-4093, or shoot me an email at mboyd@websterfd.com.
mboyd@websterfd.com. Beautiful. Yep. All right, brand new thing we've been doing. Well, it's brand new for 2025. A challenge, a scrap challenge. A challenge from Marshall Boyd to the scrappers that are listening and that will listen to the podcast to get done before next Tuesday's scrap.
Yeah. So this should be pretty simple. I think we probably all have more than one person, but at least somebody that we know, we care about, we think about, but we don't talk to regularly for some reason. A relative, a relationship that's drifted away, a friend or family member. So the challenge is reach out to somebody, reach out to that person that maybe you think about way more often than you talk to for whatever reason. Take a minute and make a phone call, reach out to someone. Maybe it's taking that first step towards mending a strained relationship.
I love that.
That's the challenge. Is reaching out to somebody.
You got me thinking right there. You just challenged the host. Yeah, great challenge, brother. I loved it. So there you go. Reach out to someone that you've been thinking about that you know you should talk to more. I'll encapsulate it. And finally, the final question, within reason, who should be on the scrap? I'm always trying to grow the network. Who should be on the scrap or back on the scrap?
Yeah, I think the name has probably been thrown around recently, at least in the chats and stuff. But the answer tonight for me is easy. It's Dave Quick from Manchester. The guy if you haven't heard of him, you're going to. He's going to be a household name. He's an engine company guru and a vertical stretch guru. So yeah, he's like a fifth or sixth generation fireman too. And you know those guys I mentioned riding around in the engine with. Dave's one of those guys. So articulate, smart, so experienced. But yeah, you got to have him on. He's incredible.
No, and I need to. He is absolutely. I've known him since I think I met him at a Dagum. It was a while back. The hose nerd. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And the thing is Snap-Tight's one of my sponsors, and he also is a consultant for Snap-Tight. So it's kind of one of those things. Right. I don't want to be like, oh, they're having the guy that works for Snap-Tight on the scrap. So that's one of those things where it's like, I want to keep it pure as possible when you have sponsors, if that makes any,
no, for sure.
It makes sense in my head. But no,
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why I'm in the corner of a giant ballroom, instead of all the vendor tables and sponsor flags everywhere. It's like, I don't want to be that guy,
Just collect money.
Yeah.
No, I love it, man. And no, Dave, absolutely great. Now I need to get him booked. Beautiful. Thank you. Housekeeping times. Go to patreon.com/thevigilantes. Marshall mentioned it earlier. The Discord is where it's at. The Vigilantes are awesome. The talk on Through the Lock that Marshall posted today, that's just one of many things that's going on. The other stuff we're doing is like the Vigilantes are going to pick the winner of the FDIC Pay It Forward. David Rhodes, the first one given out, and we're announcing that on October 7th. So go become a part. Patreon.com/thevigilantes. It's worth it because you also get to come to the after party, which is going to be fun because every time there's actually a roast, usually when it's a vigilante who's been on the scrap. And Marshall is an active vigilante, and so that means he's going to get roasted. So it's going to be fun. Next week, it is Helton Piera. He is coming on. First things first, he is coming on. And then 2 weeks from tonight, it is Brendan McDonough, and you do not want to miss that. Again, October 7th, Anthony Castro's coming back on, and we will be announcing the winner of the Pay It Forward recipient. Let's get to the after party. Thank you once again, Marshall Boyd, for spending your evening with us.
Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody.
Audience, I say it every episode. I will say it again tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in, for asking questions, for supporting the scrap, for supporting the guests. Mainly, thank you for fighting complacency. It means the world to me. And I hope the tones stay silent unless it is burning. This job is not safe. So stay smart out there.